like when I come over your house, I don't ever see your cats up on stuff. But if I have not been to your house, like even if I know you and we're great coworkers, if I haven't been to your house, then nah, probably not.
So I take a little offense to that sometimes, but I understand that. Like, yeah, some certain people do allow their animals to cook with them.
Yeah.
That's gross. That's gross.
There really was.
There was a meme.
There was a meme on Facebook or Instagram. And there was the cat with their hand in the pot.
No.
Put it away.
No.
Take it back. Take it back.
All right, so moving on, we have the Democratic National Convention that started yesterday. It's going on tonight as well. What do you guys think about who's running? That we finally have a Black vice president, female vice president, Kamala. You know, how you guys feeling about that?
Girl power.
Yay!
And she's a graduate of an HBCU.
Okay.
Isn't she your soror, Vaughn?
Yeah. Yes, she is.
Yes.
We won't hold that against her, but okay.
You better not.
Don't hold it against her.
That's the best thing about her. Why you playing?
Don't hold it against her. Vaughn came to work yesterday in royal blue with pearls. Ooh, she wants to be finer.
Yes, ma'am.
Somebody got to show y'all how to dress. I mean, I don't understand. I don't understand. Somebody have to. I mean, if you're going to wear, you might as well look nice. So let me be your example.
Definitely representing every day. Let me show you a picture of what I wore yesterday.
I'm excited about having an African American woman as vice president. I was also kind of disappointed at how quickly we went from being united to Black Lives Matter to pointing out things that she did while she was a senator. I'm like, wow, we went from being united, it's all about us, to now let's talk about everything she ever did that was wrong. Like she's the only person who's done things that you didn't really agree with.
But she was doing her job, wasn't she? She was a prosecutor. She was following the rules of the law.
Yeah, and what somebody had pointed out was that she was doing her job in a system that wasn't created for us anyway. So I don't know how much, in order for her to do her job, I don't know how much she could have done. Is that making any sense? Like if she's a prosecutor, she has to prosecute you. Right. I would hope she would want to, do well at her job, but she's also doing a job in a system that's broken beyond her.
Right.
So I just don't understand. At this point in time, somebody has said, like, right now it's either or. That's where we're at. Like, we don't have time to nitpick. We're in an either or situation. Like, either this or that.
Well, she's
what you want.
She's doing her job, but at the same time, she's slowly getting to a position where she can change some of the rules. It's not going to happen overnight. It's going to take time, period. Because she was a senator. We also know the people that it takes to change the rules. So she's going through the process and hopefully bringing other people along to show them that we need to change these rules to make them equal.
But like Vaughn said, you don't have a lot of choices. So are we going to just give her the chance to prove herself, or are we going to on another bandwagon?
Yeah, because the other bandwagon we ain't jumping on. We're not jumping on.
I don't want it.
No,
we breaking that bandwagon.
I don't want it.
No, you keep it.
Put it away.
We breaking that one.
Take it back.
We broke
Put it away.
Put it away.
We're gonna burn it.
Burn it down.
So plus I think about this, like I was listening to an Unbound Ed, watching the Unbound Ed video, and when I was talking to elementary school, we did DuckTales and Bubbles, right? Where you had the kids, walk, wave, and bubble, walking like that, right? And I used to think it was so cute, like, oh my gosh, they're DuckTales and Bubbles and blah, blah, blah. But what she talked about was that kids in other districts don't have to do DuckTales and Bubbles. They are allowed to talk and walk freely. They don't have to be quiet, They don't have to, they don't have to walk in a line, but a lot of people try to control kids in an urban setting. And while I thought it was cute, and if I was an elementary school teacher, especially being new, I would have had my kids do DuckTales and Bubbles because I thought that's what was cute. So we have all done something in this system, that messed up our kids, you know, even having uniform, you know what I mean, and trying to make things even with uniform. It was a great idea, but we see how many issues that it caused. So again, with her situation, again, she was in a racist system. That was a really, really good point. And we have all partaken in this racist system, and done things that when we look back, we're like, dang, did I do that? So
right.
that, you know, now we need a chance to be forgiven for and move on and correct.
Good point.
Agree.
All
But
right.
it's exciting, though. It's exciting to see a Black woman. It's exciting to see a woman, period. I know a lot of people were really hoping that Elizabeth Warren, that her campaign got more steam than it did. So that is exciting, because it's nice to see someone that looks like you in places where, you know, we don't normally see that. So even just like for Barack, or even all the way back to Jesse Jackson when he ran for presidency, it's nice to have someone that looks like us. And I think a lot of other people take that for granted because they always see someone that looks like them.
Right.
So it's like, hey, we may not see this. We may not see this for a while. So let's, you know, rally behind it as much as we can.
And it makes people see that it's possible. Even with Shirley Chisholm, that was way back.
Right.
History. But, you know, Shirley Chisholm, she ran, and look how long it's taken.
Right.
Agreed. Think about this. In our lifetime, we've seen a Black president, and now we're going to see a Black woman vice president. And how much stuff are we living through that our parents never got a chance to live through? Some of the things that they fought for.
Good and bad.
Right, good and bad. But
good and bad, right.
We actually here to be alive to see. We will never see anything, some things that our kids will experience.
That's true.
The sad part of this process.
That Spanish flu, you know what I'm saying? They say that what stuff happens around a whole another century. Then people didn't live to see another pandemic, so we happen to be alive during this pandemic. Hopefully our kids don't have to live through another one. But at least they will know how to prepare for that one, hopefully. It's history.
The sad part of the process for me is, I think somebody had already said, we ain't choosing that other way, so we got to choose this way. I would have liked to seen her have a quote unquote real chance and see how things turned out. Whereas, you know, right now, like you said, a lot of people are like, I ain't voting for him, so I'm voting for them. I would have liked to see her have a real chance.
Yeah, that's fair. That's a good point, Dar.
She's like the default right now. She's like the default.
Oh, that sounds bad.
But it sounds bad, but that's kind of what it is. It's like, I'm gonna choose you by default.
Hey, but I know a couple jobs I done got by default.
Oh, yeah,
that have now elevated me to another level. So like you said, you know, you may have been the default choice,
right?
However, it's what you do with this, you know.
Yeah.
True.
And even though she was a default, she did beat out 9 other people.
She did.
That were on the list. Now they happen to be all women or whatever the case may be, but she did emerge as a front runner from the list, because it was like, you need a woman, blah 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 blah. So
right. And if that's a default, that you need a woman or you need a Black woman, but before we weren't even thinking about that. You know what I mean? Like, how long has it been that wasn't even possible? So now it's on people's minds. You know, it should be a thing where everybody should just be qualified. It should be based on your qualifications. You're gonna tell me that a woman and a Black woman has not been qualified in all these years of America?
Right. So, and the thing about it is, she actually is qualified. Like her
resume is great.
Like, I read something. I wish I could pull it up. I did read an article that it was like, if you look at her credentials versus Obama's credentials, like, she actually has more under her belt than he did at the time. If you look at the time when they were running. So that's that's
Yes. All right, moving on to schools reopening. How do you guys feel about schools reopening, what your school district doing. Dar, how's that going with the daycare?
Pick me.
What's going on?
I want to hear Dar. How's that going? Because y'all are in there. So how is that?
It is a whole nother world. I am blessed to have, I'm the assistant director, and my director is amazing and is very knowledgeable about this field. But let me tell you, it is a headache. So the governor has allowed us to go back to full ratios. Before we were operating under